and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavour show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today we're really tearing into this fascinating narrative source. It looks like just a small community story on the surface, right?
Right. But when you dig in, it's actually this brilliant little guide for handling some really high-stakes situations we all face.
Exactly. Based on your notes, you really keyed in on how they're juggling, past trauma with sudden chances. So our mission today, let's pull out the core strategies here on 3 things that are really linked. Taking career risks, managing financial survival, especially with family history looming over you.
Which is huge here.
And then this surprisingly simple set of communication rules that seem to fix relationships almost instantly.
It really is a perfect source for that.
Yeah.
It's like a microcosm, a tiny lab. You see people dealing with huge internal stuff.
Yeah.
Self-doubt, fear, while the whole community is battling over costs versus, well, potentially catastrophic risks down the line.
Yeah.
These challenges are everywhere.
Okay, so we've got 3 main threads to follow. First, Stella, huge job opportunity, but she's wrestling with that inner voice saying, no way. Then that leads us straight to the farm. Adam and Brian totally at odds over money, risk, and decades of bad decisions.
A real clash.
And finally, those amazing ABC rules for the puppy that honestly seem like the perfect way to deal with difficult relatives too. Okay, let's unpack this intersection of ambition and anxiety.
Let's do it.
So we kick off with a classic career moment. Ben's got the usual nerves, new agency job at the hospital ward, standard pressure.
Right. Short-term stuff. But Stella's situation, that's a whole different level. A real leap of faith. She's up for this facilitator job.
And the scale of it really explains the anxiety, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
This isn't some small step up. It's coordinating a whole cluster of schools and farms. We're talking thousands of hectares.
Wow.
Yeah, so she'd need to bring together education, environment, farming, all these different interests across a huge area. It's complex.
And the self-doubt just hits her immediately, like, bam! She gets the news and she's instantly thinking, I don't have the skills. She says she's never been a facilitator.
Right, and she mentions working in very top-down environments.
That seems key.
It is, because she knows how to follow instructions, how to do the technical stuff, but she doubts if she can manage all these different groups, different priorities, just through, coordination and talking. Persuasion.
Yeah, she actually says, maybe I'm just scared of stepping out of my comfort zone. Plus, it's an hour's drive each way. Another hurdle.
A practical one, yeah. Adds to the stress.
So it's that classic imposter syndrome, right? I can do the job I know, but this new kind of challenge, maybe not.
But then Pip steps in, and Pip's approach is just perfect for tackling that doubt.
How so?
Well, Pip doesn't focus on the scary title, facilitator. Pip brings it straight back to Stella's passion, her core motivation. Says the job fits exactly with what she cares about, regenerating the land, tackling climate change.
Reframing it, not about the title, but the purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it shifts the whole conversation away from, what skills do I lack, to, does this align with my purpose? It's a really powerful way to fight that internal critic.
And Pip also frames it as an escape, doesn't she?
Yes. An escape from constantly battling people like Brian and Justin on the farm. So it's not just a job offer, it's presented as, like, liberation.
Freedom.
Yeah. And then comes that killer line, that direct affirmation. I've never known anyone as smart and capable as you are.
Ooh. That hits home.
It does. Because it forces Stella to actually acknowledge her existing skills. The lesson here isn't just be brave. It's about seeing your transferable skills. She knows land management. She knows environmental issues.
Right.
The facilitator part is just applying that knowledge in a different way in a new setting.
Makes sense.
But, we should probably pause here. Is it really smart for her to swap one set of political battles for another potentially much bigger one?
Good question. Facilitating across schools and farms, that sounds like its own political minefield.
It could be, yeah. It requires not just confidence, but maybe a different kind of political savvy she hasn't needed before. She's moving from internal farm politics
to complex interorganizational politics. It's a big jump. Okay, let's use those farm politics as our bridge then. Because the fight between Adam and Brian, Well, it got messy partly because they didn't have those shared rules, did they?
Not at all. Which brings us neatly to that second theme, existential risk on the farm. Adam and Brian have this major blow-up. It's all driven by the need for ruthless efficiencies.
And we find out why they need them so badly. It's the fallout from Justin's disastrous business venture, the shenanigans at BL.
Right. And that immediately creates this clash of survival philosophies. Brian is laser focused on the immediate cash crisis.
Desperate measures time.
Totally. So he suggests cutting things like personal accident insurance and, even more alarmingly, the environmental liability insurance.
Which, just saying it sounds bad, but then the history comes out.
And the history makes it chilling. Adam and Rory jump in, reminding Brian that the family lost the house years ago trying to clean up chemicals he buried, and the insurance wouldn't pay out then either.
Wow. So he's literally suggesting repeating the exact mistake that almost ruined them?
Pretty much. His justification. Life's a gamble. He's thinking purely about surviving today, even if it means courting the same disaster.
And Adam's point is that canceling this stuff isn't just risky, it's like inviting history to repeat itself. Inviting people like Justin to just laugh if another spill happens.
It's that core difference. Brian's managing the immediate cash flow problem. Adam and Rory are trying to manage the low probability, high impact, catastrophic risk. The black swan event they've already lived through once.
And what's fascinating is how the argument resolves, isn't it? Brian just dismisses Adam.
Completely. Calls him alarmist.
But then Rory steps in, makes the same points, basically siding with Adam.
And Brian immediately backs down. No, Rory, no, I see what you're saying.
So influence there isn't about age or who's technically in charge. It's about who Brian sees as the real guardian of the farm's future, the one who truly understands the legacy risk.
Exactly. It wasn't just the logic. It was who delivered the message about the historical danger that he respected enough to listen to.
Thankfully, they didn't just stop at not making a terrible decision. They actually talked about real efficiencies too, right? The maize cultivation.
Yes, which provides such a smart contrast to Brian's gamble. They discuss the problems with maize, how it's planted late, grows slowly, leaves the soil bare and vulnerable to erosion, especially on slopes.
Like the ones above Long Meadow.
Yeah.
You get those gullies, soil washes away, bad news.
Right. Inefficient, bad for the environment long term. But the solution they land on is genuinely clever. It's undersowing the maize with grass.
How does that work?
Well, the grass builds up this dense root system underneath the maize. It holds the soil together, improves the moisture balance, and crucially, it helps stop nutrients leaching out. It's a win-win.
So it improves the soil, makes the farm more resilient.
And it directly reduces the kind of environmental runoff risk that Brian wanted to just, ignore by cutting the insurance. It's smart farming tackling the root cause.
It shows they can make good decisions when they focus on sustainable practices instead of just reacting out of fear.
Precisely. And we even get that little detail. The harvester servicing is booked for Thursday morning. They're actually moving on it.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. We pivot from this really complex, high-stakes farm argument.
Which was messy because, fundamentally, they lacked clear, respectful rules for disagreement.
To seeing those kinds of rules applied brilliantly, but with a puppy.
Exactly. Rosie, the young girl, and Cleo, the puppy who sounds adorable, by the way, very cute, looks like a soft toy.
Apparently. But the relationship needed help. Rosie was hugging Cleo too tight, squealing near her. The dog was getting stressed.
Understandable. So the trainer comes in with these incredibly simple ABC rules. And honestly, they apply to pretty much any relationship.
Okay, break them down. They.
A is for affection, but show it in ways the dog understands. So for Rosie, that meant stop hugging her around the neck. Respect the dog's signals.
Makes sense. B.
B is for busy. If the dog's busy with something like chewing a toy, give her space, respect her focus, her personal zone.
Okay. And C.
C is for choice. Always let the dog choose to move away. Give her agency. Don't trap her.
Affection. Busy. Choice. ABC. So simple.
Deceptively simple. But the results were immediate. The source says the dog and the girl are so much more relaxed around each other.
And it works so well that Stella even relaxed her own rule about Cleo sleeping on the bed.
Right. That rule just gone by the wayside. Because the core relationship was better, those smaller boundaries maybe mattered less.
And you see the need for these kinds of clear boundaries bleeding into the human dynamics too, right? Like planning the big family holiday.
Oh, definitely.
Kate suggests Scotland practical idea, easier drive for Phoebe with the baby on the way.
But trying to get everyone else on board.
Is described perfectly as herding cats. It immediately makes you think, if they just applied the ABCs, especially C for choice, giving real agency instead of just arguing, maybe it wouldn't be so stressful.
And there's that undercurrent, isn't there? The suspicion that Gran leaving the money for the holiday was some kind of test.
Yeah, that little detail tells you so much about the family dynamics. Even something fun is loaded with history and pressure. The problem isn't picking a place, it's the process of agreeing.
That joke about renting the Trader's Castle feels like much needed humor. But yeah, sounds like they're nowhere near deciding.
It's just fascinating seeing the contrast, the clarity of the ABC rules for the dog versus the messy emotional tangle of the human family negotiations.
Even affects other relationships too, like Rory's potential thing with Paul.
Right. Paul's single now, they're messaging. And Rory's feeling that pressure to get back on the horse. It's all about navigating boundaries, communication, respect, whether it's a new romance, family, or even a puppy.
Okay, so what does this all mean? We've kind of woven through risk, personal growth, and communication, all from this one narrative.
Yeah, let's pull it together. On risk. The big lesson seems to be, don't let immediate financial panic blind you to history. Brian's impulse to cut insurance, ignoring the past disaster.
Yeah, that was scary.
It shows that sometimes things like insurance aren't just costs to cut. They're the price you pay for continuity.
Yeah.
Especially when history's already given you a very clear warning.
And for personal growth, Stella's story is interesting. It's not just about finding courage. It's about recognizing the skills you already have and needing maybe that external push like Pip gave her to see how they apply in a new, maybe intimidating context, like the facilitator role. It's applying her known strength in a new political arena.
Exactly. Recognizing your power and figuring out how to wield it differently. And finally, communication. Those ABCs.
Affection, busy, choice.
They just show that simple, clear, respectful boundaries are the fastest way to improve really tense interactions. Doesn't matter if it's a pet, a difficult colleague, or your own family. Space, respect, agency, they work.
So a lot packed in there.
Definitely. And maybe the final thought for you listening is this. The characters here learned that risk isn't just one thing. For Brian, the risk was running out of cash now. For Adam, the risk was repeating that historical catastrophe. Survival meant different things to them.
Right, immediate versus existential.
So, when you face a big decision this week, maybe it's about your career, maybe it's setting a boundary, think about which kind of survival you're really prioritizing. Is it the immediate win, keeping things afloat today? Or is it minimizing that worst case scenario that maybe, just maybe, history is trying to warn you about?
That is definitely something to chew on. A fantastic deep dive today. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
So,
on The
what are
Deep
you
Dive.
doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just
And,
moving mics around.
So, what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the archers. Any
Are you what we
movements
call Foley then?
and- kind of. Yep. That's,
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep. That's the ball bar. That's,
This one.
yep. That's.
Haley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline.
I think The Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever